Tara, do you want to introduce yourself and what your strengths are?
Oh, you could introduce me. You want to give everybody a rundown, a list, and
It's
well, you've
much
known me
easier for
for
you to
20
do it.
years.
I
Oh,
know.
okay. I am Tara Kelly. I'm Jesse's partner. I am a marketing and brand strategist, so I help larger nonprofits, which what I call rebels with a cause. I help them build their brands, think through brand strategy, think through their positioning, and I also help with their marketing. So building a funnel, helping with lead generation. I've also worked with tech companies. I've worked with publishing companies. Graduated from film school at UC Santa Cruz, and I ended up working at Apple, give GarageBand demonstrations with my guitar and learning a lot about sound, doing a lot of music, and I did a lot of video production. I also worked for NBC News in Las Vegas, again, doing all the graphics on air, and then going to Vegas weddings and running around with a camera and editing and doing all kinds of fun, interesting things. Well, okay, not so much fun. I learned that running around with a camera is not my favorite thing. And so I spent a lot of time in production, especially early on in my career. And then I slowly grew into marketing and more marketing leadership roles where they still had me do a lot of video and sound work for most roles. So when podcasts started becoming popular, it's always been intriguing to me because I love the idea of just being able to share your stories, and I love the concept of narrative podcasts. I'm a storyteller, so that's really fascinating to me, like just being able to experience a story that way, but also just being able to have conversations like this where you can just be yourself and real and raw. And through after years of production, I really found that I enjoyed that strategy and storytelling piece, being able to run workshops and help clients think through, okay, where do I want to go? Who do I want to work with? Because I think a lot of people, when they start a business, they think, well, I need to appeal to everyone because I need to keep my options open, right? It makes sense. You're new, you don't know anyone, you're trying to build credibility. You think, okay, I'm going to make myself as appealing as possible to everyone, so I have more opportunities coming to me. And what I've found is that doesn't work super well because people don't really get a good sense of who you are. They don't connect with you. So one of the things I really like to do is work with, again, both organizations, but also freelancers, solopreneurs. I work with a lot of women trying to find their superpower. They have a really great idea for a business, or they really want to grow their confidence, or like me, they came up in male-dominated industries where they're always being told they can't do something, and we're kind of like, well, yeah, we can. Pretty much every time I've been told, you can't do that, I'm like, no, I can, and I will, and that's what I'm going to do. So I love working with other women that are just like, you know what, I have this dream, and I'm going to go for it, and figuring out, okay, who are you? Who do you want to work with? Who deserves to work with you? I mean, looking at it that way too, like you have these skills, you have a lot to offer. Who's going to find value in you? And so we have a lot of fun. We do workshops. We figure out what drives them every day. And one thing that people tend to do is think about the client first. They think about, well, how can I position myself, or how can I build my brand around what's attractive to the client, which makes sense. You want to be appealing to the client, but they don't think through first who they really are and who they want to be and where they want to go. And the problem is if you try to build your business around a client, if you try to build your business around a certain customer because you think that's what they want, at some point I've seen people discover, I don't like this. I don't really like working with these types of people, or I don't really like what I'm doing, and I feel like I'm not really being authentic. I'm trying to play this role, or my business is stuck in this like box, and it's not really the box I wanted in. And so then they end up having to rethink things and rebrand, and that can be challenging. So I really try to figure out, okay, what do you want? Figure that part out first, and the right clients you want to work with will then be drawn to you because you can start putting out there who you are and who you want to work with and what you do best.
Would you say it's okay to change gears if you started out and you thought you wanted to work in certain areas or with certain clients and you realize, okay, I'm not as interested in this as possible? Is there anything wrong with deciding then to switch it up and go through a rebrand?
Definitely not. If you feel like you're getting up every morning and you're dreading what you're doing and your heart isn't in it, it's going to show. It's going to show in the clients you work with. And more importantly, you're not going to be happy. So it's just a matter of thinking through, okay, where do I want to go? Who do I want to work with? And how do I get there? How do I get from point A to point B? And I think one of the big things you want to develop is maybe think through the different clients that you have worked with and your favorite clients. What were they like? What were their qualities? Who were they? And actually almost build little profiles for them and just write down, who were they? What's their background? Why did you like working with them? What made you excited to work with them? And see if there's any patterns. Is there a pattern in the clients that I did enjoy working with? Are there certain personality traits or mindsets, or is there a certain industry? And then you can start to piece that together and think about, okay, how do I attract more of those types of clients? I want those. If you're doing something and you realize, I don't really like doing this thing, like if you're doing podcast management and you realize, I actually prefer editing, or I want to get more into the sound engineering side, yeah, you can always switch. You can always say, you know what, I'm going to move into this other area and then rebrand yourself as a sound engineer or a podcast editor.